Sam C. Story time with Ronnie. What are we doing today? Well, it's the island of Dr. Moreau. Part 18. And, we's in the toad again. We's in a Jeep toad again. And we're gonna spin around a little bit, and we're gonna leave this here campground. Guess where we's at? That's right. We's at Wynn again, up in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest. And if you've never been there, stay away. There's already too many people. All right. Now this story, this island of Dr. Moreau thing, the Prendrick was he was on the run. He was on the run. They had taken him into the cave there, the monkey man and the sloth guy and a whole bunch of weird piglet guys and all this kind of business. And Monroe and Montgomery found him. And the one guy blocked the way, and he ran and he fell, and he ran and he fell, and oh boy. So we're gonna pick it up there. I think he just dove into a cane patch or something like that, and we'll pick it up right there. This pathway ran uphill across another open space covered with white incrustation and plunged into a cane break again. Then suddenly it turned parallel with the edge of a steep walled gap, which came without warning, like the ha-ha of an English park. Turned with an unexpected abruptness. I was still running with all my might, and I never saw this drop until I was flying headlong through the air. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, we got a lot of this. I can't, it was kind of busy this here particular trip, and I had to leave my spot. I would have normally stayed another day or two because it was just so nice, but somebody had it reserved, and the way it's been is that you really can't count on that, because people, they make them reservations and then they just don't show up, because there's really no penalty if they don't, and they don't cancel it, that kind of thing. It's like, you lose $5 or something. So, they got to change that one. I think they're working on that one. But the campground here was kind of busy, so I'm spinning around here and showing you there's some spectacular tents. Boy, oh boy, some of those tents got big and inexpensive. Yeah, I know, if you only going to use them the 1 or 2 times a year, that's not a bad thing. Except this is bear country, and they don't have bear boxes at the sites. So you got to deal with your food, and a lot of people are not quite accustomed to camping in bear country, because I see a lot of plastic containers on the picnic tables, and just kind of sitting around in the back of the pickup truck and that kind of thing. So that's just not going to work. That'll keep the flies away. It might. I don't even know if that would keep the ravens and the squirrels away. But okay, I digress, as the saying goes. So yeah, you can see here that we're pretty busy. We're not normally this busy, and I'm trying to figure out, it's got to be a Monday or a Tuesday. There's just, I know what it is. I think it's probably a Thursday or a Friday. And I'm getting out of there because the thing is booked for the weekend. I probably just rolled up. I'm probably the worst, one of the worst planners that you could possibly. I don't like to plan things because they never go to plan, especially RVs. Any of you guys RVing out there ever like, okay, yeah, we're gonna start getting moving at 7 o'clock, and by 7:45 we're gonna be doing this, and by 8 o'clock we're gonna be doing, yeah, that ain't happening. It's like, okay, we're leaving today, and hopefully we're gonna get over there. When you gonna get there? Oh geez, when we pull in. Okay, let's get back to it here. All right, now where were we? I don't even know. I know we were talking about, okay, yep. He went flying through the air, right, okay. I fell on my forearms and head among thorns and rose with a torn ear and bleeding face. I had fallen into a precipitous ravine, rocky and thorny, full of a hazy mist that drifted about me in wisps, and with a narrow streamlet from which this mist came, meandering down the center. I was astonished at this thin fog in the full blaze of daylight. But I had no time to stand wandering then. I turned to my right downstream, hoping to come to the sea in that direction, and so have my way open to drown myself. It was only later I found that I had dropped my nailed stick in my fall. Presently, the ravine grew narrower for a space, and carelessly I stepped into the stream. I jumped out again pretty quickly, for the water was almost boiling. I noticed, too, there was a thin, sulphurous scum drifting upon its coiling water. Almost immediately came a turn in the ravine, and the indistinct blue horizon. The nearer sea was flashing the sun from a myriad of facets. I saw my death before me. All right, what's going on here? Let's take a look at this thing. Oh, I get it. Yep, I'm probably on my way out. So a host or one of the forest guys that I know, I think, was up there, and I was chatting him up for a bit. I think I may have had a camera stuck to the side of Ronnie. I'll have to take a look at it. Getting a look at the wheels, you know. All right. I saw my death before me. Yeah, I'm betting that's what's going on. Here we go. Let's just find out now. I'm going to get dizzy. I keep spinning that thing around like that. And I know I promised a little. Oh, yeah, there he is there. I promised to put a little Grover in there. I just haven't gotten to it yet. And this is old footage. Well, it's not that old. Last year, I think. But yeah, I just haven't gotten a new guy yet, and I'm thinking about selling the Jeep anyway. So, yeah, I know. Okay, myriad of facets. I saw my death before me, but I was hot and panting. Apparently you can't die if you're hot and panting. I felt more than a touch of exultation, too, at having distanced my pursuers. It was not in me, then, to go out and drown myself yet. My blood was too warm. I stared back the way I had come. I listened, save for the hum of the gnats and the chirp of some small insects that hopped among the thorns. The air was absolutely still. Then came the yelp of a dog, very faint, and, chattering and gibbering, the snap of a whip and voices. They grew louder, then fainter again. The noise receded up the stream and faded away. For a while, the chase was over. But I knew now how much hope of help for me lay in these beast people. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. Oh, we're moving again. Okay. Oh, here we go. Chapter 8, The Parlay. Well, let me put on my Geordie LaForge my inside Geordie LaForge here, and let's just see. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to stop and make a deposit and get out my passbook. I mean, my bag of garbage, and that was the big reason. One of the big reasons for putting that box on the back of the little Jeep there, Trailbot, was a secure place to put garbage. I don't like putting garbage in Big Ronnie in the storage bays. I don't know, it just grosses me out. So, garbage belongs outside in a garbage can. So it's a metal box, and yeah, a bear could rip it right off the back there if he was so inclined. But, like I say, there's a whole lot of easier stuff for a bear to get than that. And usually they'll find the easy stuff first. And it's just garbage. What could it possibly be? I mean, they like garbage. All right, enough of the garbage. Let's get back to it. I see the catfish and the bottlemen. It's like I got like 2 shirts. Well, no, that's 3, but 2 of them are the same. Okay, Chapter 8, The Parlay. I turned again and went on down toward the sea. I found the hot stream broadened out to a shallow, weedy sand, in which an abundance of crabs and long-bodied, many-legged creatures started from my footfall. I walked to the very edge of the salt water, and then I felt I was safe. I turned and stared, arms akimbo, at the thick green behind me, into which the steamy ravine cut like a smoking gash. But, as I say, I was too full of excitement, and a true saying, those who have never known danger may doubt it, I was too desperate to die. Then it came into my head that there was one chance before me. Yet, while Moreau, and Montgomery and their bestial rabble chased me through the island, might I not go round the beach until I came to their enclosure, make a flank march upon them, in fact, and then with a rock lugged out of their loosely built wall, perhaps smash in the lock of the smaller door and see what I could find, knife, pistol, or what not, to fight them with when they returned? This guy's always, man, he's thinking. Yeah, who wants to become a goat man? Nobody. It was, any rate, a chance of getting a price for my life. That's right. So I turned to the wasteland and walked along the water's edge. The setting sun flashed his blinding heat into my eyes. The slight Pacific tide was running in with a gentle ripple. Presently, the shore fell away southward. I can see we're moving again. All right. Yeah, eventually I'll remember those 4-ways are on. And southward, and the sun came round upon my right hand. Then, suddenly, far in front of me, I saw first one and then several figures emerging from the bushes. Moreau with his gray staghound, then Montgomery and 2 others. At that I stopped. They saw me and began gesticulating and advancing. I stood, watching them approach. The 2 beast men came running forward to cut me off from the undergrowth inland. Montgomery came running also, but straight towards me. Moreau followed slower with the dog. At last, I roused myself from my inaction and turned seaward, walking... what now? Turned seaward and walked straight into the water. The water was very shallow at first. I was 30 yards out before the waves reached my waist. Dimly, I could see the intertidal creatures darting away from my feet. "What are you doing, man?" cried Montgomery. I turned, standing waist deep, and stared at them. Montgomery stood panting at the margin of the water. His face was bright red with exertion, his long flaxen hair blown about his head, and his dropping neither Blah. Okay, let's try this one again. Because this guy says this a lot. His long, flaxen hair blown about his head, and his dropping nether lip showed his irregular teeth. Monroe? Why do I keep calling this guy Monroe? I've been reading this story for some time now. Moreau was just coming up, his face pale and firm, and the dog at his hand barked at me. Both men had heavy whips. Farther up the beach stared the beast men. "What am I doing? I'm going to drown myself," said I. Montgomery and Moreau looked at each other. "Why?" asked Moreau. "Because that is better than being tortured by you." "I told you so," said Montgomery, and Moreau said something in a low tone. "What makes you think I shall torture you?" asked Moreau. "What I saw," I said, "and those yonder." "Hush," said Moreau, and held up his hand. "I will not." "Say I?" said I. "They were men. What are they now? I, at least, will not be like them." I looked past my interlocutors. I don't have to figure out how to say that one, too. Up the beach were Maling, Montgomery's attendant, and one of the white, swathed brutes from the boat. Farther up, in the shadow of the trees, I saw my little ape-man, and behind him some other dim figures. "Who are these creatures?" said I, pointing to them and raising my voice more and more, that it might reach them. "They were men like yourselves, whom you have infected with some bestial taint, like a swinish taint. Men whom you have enslaved, and whom you still fear. You who listen," I cried, pointing now to Moreau and shouting past him to the beastmen. "You who listen, do you not see these men still fear you? Go in dread of you? Why then do you fear them? You are many." "For God's sake," cried Montgomery. "Stop that, Prendick." "Prendick." "Prendick," cried Moreau. They both shouted together, as if to drown my voice, and behind them lowered the staring faces of the beast men, wondering, their deformed hands hanging down, their shoulders hunched up. They seemed, as I fancied then, to be trying to understand me, to remember something of their human past. I went on shouting, I scarcely remember what, that Moreau and Montgomery could be killed, and that they were not to be feared. That was the burthen of what I put into their heads, of the beast people, to my own ultimate undoing. I saw the green-eyed man in the dark rags, who had met me on the evening of my arrival, come out from among the trees, and others followed him to hear me better. At last, for want of breath, I paused. "Listen to me for a moment," said the steady voice of Moreau, "and then say what you will." "Well," said I. He coughed, thought, then shouted, "Latin, Prendick, bad Latin, schoolboy Latin, but try and understand. Hi non sunt homines sunt animalia qui nos habemus vivisected." A humanizing process? I will explain. Come ashore. I laughed. "A pretty story," said I. "They talk, build houses. They were men. It's likely I'll come ashore." The water, what? Hang on, let me go back there. I laughed. "A pretty story," said I. "They talk, build houses. They were men. It's likely I'll come ashore. Huh. The water was just about where you stand is deep. The water, I am just really, I have to go back to the, let me take a look here. Oh yeah, we just putting out on the little gravel road and looking for cows, that kind of thing. All right. The water just beyond where you stand is deep and full of sharks. That's my way, said I. Short and sharp, presently. Wait a minute. He took something out of his pocket that flashed back the sun and dropped the object at his feet. That's a loaded revolver, said he. Montgomery here will do the same. Now, we are going up the beach until you are satisfied the distance is safe. Then come and take the revolvers. Not I. You have a third between you. I want you to think over things, Prendick. In the first place, I never asked you to come upon this island. In the next, we had you drugged last night. Had we wanted to work on you any mischief, and in the next, now your first panic is over, and you can think a little. Is Montgomery here quite up to the character you give him? We have chased you for your good, because this island is full of inimical phenomena. Inimical. Missile. Let's just, okay. You know, there's so many, okay, we're just going to let that one go. Phenomena. Why should we want to shoot you when you have just offered to drown yourself? Why did you set your people onto me when I was in the hut? We felt sure of catching you and bringing you out of danger. Afterwards, we drew away from the scent for your own good. I mused. It seemed just possible that I remembered something again. But I saw, said I, in the enclosure. That was a puma. Look here, Prendick, said Montgomery. You're a silly ass. Come out of the water and take these revolvers and talk. We can't do anything more than we could do now. I will confess then that... Then? Oh, we on the big road. Oh, yeah, I don't think we get all that far in it. Boy, I better step it up here. I will confess that then, and indeed always, I distrusted and dreaded Moreau. But Montgomery was a man I felt I understood. Go up the beach, said I, after thinking, and added, holding your hands up. Can't do that, said Montgomery, with a exploratory nod over his shoulder. Undignified. Go up to the trees, then, said I. As you please. It's a damn silly ceremony, said Montgomery. Oh, we're going to get through. I think we're going to get through this chapter. I can see. Both turned and faced the 6 or 7 grotesque creatures who stood there in the sunlight, solid, casting shadows, moving, and yet so incredibly unreal. Montgomery cracked his whip at them, and forthwith they all turned and fled, helter-skelter, into the trees. And when Montgomery and Moreau were at a distance I judged sufficient, I waded ashore and picked up and examined the revolvers. To satisfy myself against these, to satisfy myself against the subtlest trickery, I discharged one at a round lump of lava, and had the satisfaction of seeing the stone pulverized and the beach splashed with lead. Still, I hesitated for a moment. I'll take the risk, said I, and with a revolver in each hand, walked up the beach towards them. That's better, said Moreau, without affectation. As it is, you have wasted the best part of my day with your confounded panic. And with a touch of contempt that humiliated me, he and Montgomery turned and went on in silence before me. The knot of beast men, still wondering, stood back among the trees. I passed them as serenely as possible. One started to follow me, but retreated again when Montgomery cracked his whip. The rest stood silent, watching. They may once have been animals, but I never before saw an animal trying to think. Whew. All right. That is the end of the chapter. That's the end of chapter 8 and chapter 9. I don't think we're going to get too far into chapter 9, but we're definitely going to get partways into chapter 9. Chapter 9. Dr. Moreau explains. And now, Prendon, I will explain, said Dr. Moreau, so soon as we had eaten and drunk. I must confess you are the most dictatorial guest I have ever entertained. I warn you that this is the last I shall do to oblige you. The next thing you threaten to commit suicide about, I shan't do, even at some personal inconvenience. He sat in a deck chair, a cigar half consumed in his white, dexterous-looking fingers. The light of the swinging lamp fell on his white hair. He stared through the little window out at the starlight. I sat as far away from him as possible, the table between us and the revolvers to hand. Montgomery was not present. I did not care to be with two of them in such a little room. You admit that the vivisected human being, as you call it, is after all only the puma? Said Moreau. He had made me visit the horror of the inner room to assure myself of its inhumanity. It is the puma, I said, still alive, but so cut and mutilated as I pray I may never see living flesh again. Of all vile, never mind that, said Moreau. At least spare me those youthful horrors. Montgomery used to be just the same. You admit that it is the puma. Now be quiet while I reel off my physiological lecture to you. And forthwith, beginning in the tone of a man supremely bored, but presently warming a little, he explained his work to me. He was very simple and convincing. Now and then there was a touch of sarcasm in his voice. Presently I found myself hot with shame at our mutual positions. The creatures I had seen were not men, had never been men. They were animals, humanized animals, triumphs of vivisection. You forget all that a skilled vivisection... All right, let's try it again. You forget all that a skilled vivisector can do with living things, said Moreau. For my own part, I'm puzzled why the things I have done here have not been done before. Small efforts, of course, have been made. Amputation, tongue cutting, excisions. Of course you know a squint may induce a, or curved by blah, blah, blah. All right, that's enough of that. I can't seem to get it together, so we're just going to put a mark on it. Oh, I don't even have a pencil, so we're just going to wing it. It's right there. How could I ever forget? Come on. All right, let's take a look here. Let's take a look here and see what's happening. Oh, yeah, we're almost done. That's enough for today, at least, anyway. So, thank you so much for coming. Oh, yeah, we're going to get that. Oh, don't worry, I'll mark it. I'll find it. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next time. Well, let's just do this here thing, and then we can move on. Sam C. And let's just see a little bit of big old Rosie, just so we can maintain an equilibrium. Oh, yeah, Rosie, what do you see? Oh, it's one of them ninja squirrels, isn't it? All right, I'll talk to you later, big old Rosie.